Tales of Middle-earth releases June 23rd, 2023, and with it comes a new mechanic in the form of The Ring Tempts You. A lot of players have shrugged this mechanic off as gimmicky or just another weird mechanic like Venture into the Dungeon that we saw with the Adventures in the Forgotten Realms. I'm here to tell you today that I think this mechanic is more powerful than people think. Let's examine this mechanic together and master the ring today so we can take our opponents unawares when Tales of Middle-earth comes out. First of all, let's discuss how the ring tempts you in Magic the Gathering. Whenever a player uses a card that includes the phrase "the ring tempts you," that player creates an emblem called the ring under their control, attached to a creature. That player also chooses one of their creatures as the ring bearer. As the ring tempts the player further, more abilities are gained. Each time a player is tempted by the ring, they have the opportunity to change their ring bearer, and there are 4 total abilities. Once you reach 4, no further abilities are gained. Here are the 4 stages of the ring. 1. Your ring bearer is legendary and can't be blocked by creatures with greater power. 2. Whenever your ring bearer attacks, draw a card, then discard a card. 3. Whenever your ring bearer becomes blocked by a creature, that creature's controller sacrifices it at the end of combat. And 4. Whenever your ring bearer deals combat damage to a player, each opponent loses 3 life. Now this is a lot to commit to memory, but memorizing this now will allow you to devote mental resources to other things while playing the match, so you don't have to be constantly looking back at the emblem. So here's a handy acronym that I made up that I will be using. That acronym is SLED. Each letter corresponds to a shorthand version of what the ability does, so let's break it down. First, S for Skulk. Skulk is an ability introduced in Shadows over Innistrad that does exactly what this first ability says, so we can shorthand it here and just know the first time we're tempted, our ring bearer gains Skulk. The second is Loot. Looting in Magic the Gathering refers to when you draw cards, then have to discard an equal amount. In this case, when we're tempted twice, our ring bearer loots when it attacks. The third letter stands for Edict. While not exactly an edict effect, this shorthand is good enough to remind us this third ability makes them sacrifice a creature that blocked our ring bearer after combat. Lastly, D for Damage. When you think of direct damage, the most popular direct damage spell of all time is Lightning Bolt, which deals 3 damage to any target. So this last step reminds us that when our ring bearer connects and deals damage to the opponent, that opponent will lose 3 additional life. So when you hit the local game store for pre-release or you load up Arena on release day, just remember SLED and you'll offload some brain power for more interesting things like figuring out what new cards do. So why is it good? Well, cards that grant abilities to pre-existing creatures are typically not very good, because they open you up to tempo losses and card disadvantage. Say when you cast an aura spell or a buff spell on a creature, you're giving the opponent an opportunity to destroy both of your cards with 1 removal spell. The scaling effect of the ring tempting you allows you to gain benefit, but since emblems are extremely hard to interact with, I only know of 1 card that does it currently. Each time you're tempted, you're able to transfer all of those effects to a new ring bearer, and that fact can stack up, meaning even a meager creature can become quite powerful later in the game if you've hit all 4 tempts. So what decks want to be tempted by the ring? Well, the short answer is aggro. Since all the benefits are dependent on creatures attacking or getting damage through, creatureless control decks will not typically want this type of effect because it doesn't really pay them off. But most aggro and mid-range decks will love having this extra value attached to their creature. Another upside to this is that it only takes 1 tempting to make your creature legendary. Recently, Wizards of the Coast has been printing a ton of Legendary Matters cards, and every set has a few. Making a regular creature legendary will allow more of these cards to be played in the main deck as you get more benefit from them, while still being able to run 4 copies of this non-legendary creature and make it legendary instead of having 4 legends and being afraid of drawing too many of them. Another thing to note about the legend rule, some players have been concerned about making a creature legendary. Say you have 2 creatures of the same name on the field and one becomes legendary. Will the legend rule kick in and make you sacrifice one of them? That answer is no. If you make a creature legendary with the ring, then play another copy of a creature with the same name that's not legendary, you will not have to sacrifice one of them. They would both need to be legendary for that to happen, so there's no concerns there. In general, I think the strategy here for the ring tempting you to be good is when it's paired with cards that are good by themselves, or at least playable with the upside of the tempting. I doubt there's a deck out there that you make around the ring tempts you that will be great, but the key here will be playing cards that already you wanting to play, but also have that upside of the ring tempting you tacked onto it, allowing this additional upside without sacrificing too much of your deck game plan. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching and subscribing, and I will see you next time.